colonizer, captor, conqueror to move about freely on the land with freedom of locomotion because you have your papers. Before they came, we didn't need no papers to go nowhere on the land. All we needed was our decency and common sense and good morals, and everybody accepted us like we was family. Now you need papers. That's a police state. America is a police state under Admiralty jurisdiction being overthrown by a tribal jurisdiction being restored. Somebody got to pay for that stuff. And if they paying for it, they also paying for the news coverage. And news is strictly propaganda, so why is they telling us? They could have did it in silence and secrecy and nobody would have never knew.
That's true.
Why are they telling you? It's a cattle prod to keep you moving in the direction they want you to go. They want to push their agenda. But if you can't see their agenda, they can convince you to push it for them. So they can say, it wasn't me. It was them. Everybody came over here was supposed to isolate into their own community like the Amish, like the Quakers, like the Mormons, like the Jehovah's Witness. They was all supposed to form their own community under the rules of the tribes. But the government stepped in and turned them into 501c3s and made them all slaves right along with us. And gave them an agenda that if you want to keep existing, you have to follow.
That is true. It makes a lot of sense too.
That's the place to end on. We have 450 people in the building, y'all. On our show back. We love y'all. Shout out to Copper Goddess. Shout out to CJ, Cherise, Lindsay Hawk, Indigenous Black Man. Who's Tavina? Who else, y'all? Who else? Don't come at King Tay, the Treasury. And we see y'all. The Lord's House. George, he always shouting out Alabama. What's up? I have my camp focus from Alabama on my dad's side. Yeah. DMQ Unlimited. Okay, I ain't reading all y'all names. Y'all, listen, we love y'all, okay? And we appreciate y'all. And we'll see y'all. I think we're coming back on Monday, right?
Monday. We're going to do, because we got to discuss this all-white community and how it could be dangerous though, right? Because they're trying to do this all over America. They're already putting signs out. Already stop you allowing people of color, and if they can tell that you're homosexual, coming into different restaurants and stores.
Look, remember the first thing you gotta ask yourself is who's paying for all this shit.
Right.
The police is the first ones to tell you if you want to know the root to the problem, follow the money. You want to know who's responsible, follow the money.
You should see how they trying to make their
follow the money.
Little stuff.
If you don't understand propaganda warfare, then you won't never look to follow the money. That's how Antifa got busted and Black Lives Matter got busted because they followed the money.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? They found out George Soros was funding them.
Sure.
Right? For counter insurgency measures in order to influence the elections of the government.
Yeah.
Right? And they uncovered it all by following the money.
Yeah.
It's a book called Black Autonomy and Self-Determination I read years ago. And the book was about us going places on the land, setting up our own communities. We've been doing it. That's how the tribes got to populate the land, by settling tribal ideology in the geography. It was normally appointed by the big mamas. The big mamas say, you too big to live with Uncle Junebug. Y'all got to separate because y'all gonna come to a killing scrape. So I'm gonna give you your own territory so you can be the chief of your own tribe. You can't outshine Uncle Junebug and Uncle Junebug house. You can't do it. You can't tell Uncle Junebug how to run his house. That means you need your own house now. You need to set up your own clan, set up your own family plot, and build your own family with your hardwired instincts into them. But you can bring the best out of them, like Uncle Junebug brought you into being who you want to be. Right?
That's true.
Tribal tradition. So if they just telling you about some good people, most of these people passing. Most of these people y'all think is Caucasians, shell faces, is niggas passing.
They still doing that?
Copper gotta say, not Uncle Junebug. Yeah, y'all know we all had an Uncle Junebug.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they said it too. Uncle Junebug.
And he was an alcoholic. I'm just gonna be honest. Uncle Junebug was a hot mess.
Oh, a hot mess.
A hot mess.
But he knew how to take care of his family and he knew how to run that barbecue pit.
Right.
We just thought that he was so drunk he gonna fall in one day.
That's right.
But he ain't never fall.
That's right.
Say that no, we aren't scared, but to be aware of the danger that could come from.
They the same amount of dangerous to us as we is to them if we form our own community.
I agree, but it's better to be aware of the mayonnaise. I mean, it's better to be aware of what you're facing. I just think it's better to be aware.
Awareness is critical. Awareness is critical, but you gotta remember, if you take the right away from them, you take the right away from you.
That's true too. I'm not trying to take the right way. I'm glad they letting us know who they are.
Look, if they want to move away from me, get the hell out of my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care where they go when they leave my neighborhood. Just get the hell out of mine. I don't want you living by me if you don't want to live by me.
Right, right.
If you want to, you can go live with a pack of German Shepherds. I don't care.
Right.
It's the man that lived down the street from me. He got.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
All right, hey, Raw, it's a lot going on in the media, man. Yeah, I can hear you clear. It's a lot going on in the media. For the first part, I think the IRS is Trump is running off the IRS, man. The Inquisition Revenue Services, man. What's your take on that, man? We can start it out right like the ice.
Remember, I told you a couple weeks ago that we had fired 1,500 IRS workers. Then, when we finished the last class, somebody sent me a clip of the brother talking about the IRS being closed, the buildings being closed. The IRS agent that like H&R Block agent that do your taxes, they going down to the IRS office and can't get in because there ain't nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
This is consistent with the fall of the Federal Reserve and the collapse of the old system and right at the emergence of the new system. They use sensationalism and exaggeration to blow it out of proportion in order for you to not realize what they're doing. When you turn down the exaggeration, and then you can see it better for what it is. It's the same way with translating dreams.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My next question that we got for you is that, so we got the government shut down. We're going on day 13. Once they go, we're going on day 13. It'll be day 13 tomorrow. Now, once they go into a 15 days, 16 days, what have you, this is when the payments for some of these organizations that's connected with the federal government don't go out no more. What's your take on that? And for the people that's watching as part of those organizations, that maybe not receive a paycheck. They still got to go to work and hope that these guys clear everything up within the next couple of days.
Well, the military is guaranteed to get paid under Trump. Redistribution of the funds seized by Doge insisted that. So remember I told you last time it was a $2 billion package. It was a $200 billion Package that they took from Doge to pay EBT and those SNAP and all that, single mothers with children, make sure they cover. So now we see he issued a statement saying that Schumer didn't want to start the government back and his soldiers couldn't get paid. Remember, as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, your primary responsibility is to keep your army's morale high as you exercising hostile actions, especially when it's internally. So by him continuing their pay through Doge it shows more patriotic loyalty to the soldiers than to the political machine. So it's a subtle message that comes with that. So all of this is the shutdown of the old system, and then when they start rolling out the arrests in the next couple of weeks, then that's when they're going to start showing you why the old system was done away with and why the military had to intervene. If you know American history, the military has always reserved the right to intervene when the government go rogue. It's part of your Second Amendment militia rights. Well, that's why in their oath, they swear to protect it against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. But under the structure and anatomy of military, the only way you can use the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines at home is they have to be put under the command of the National Guard. So they call the dude that called the meeting with all of the generals, they say he was a failed National Guard general. Right? But obviously he wasn't, because he's now the director of the Department of Military or Department of War. So they're using the National Guard because there's a domestic enemy. ICE is under the jurisdiction of the Department of Justice. They're trying to recruit policemen out of the police force by offering them incentive packages that the bonus is more than their annual income, most of them. And then they got other benefits, signing benefits package with it, because they trying to let them know you got to get off the police force, and if you want to continue practicing law enforcement, you got to get under the right jurisdictional authority. Because now they're going under, they're securing the hotspot cities, the ones that they call hot targets. Then they just had a big old explosion on the military. Yeah, that's highly unlikely that wasn't deliberate, if somebody didn't bomb it. And we might not find out for another week or two. So that's not normal.
Hey, did they ever catch that dude, that serial killer yet in Houston?
Nope, they haven't caught him yet. They just found another body like 2 days ago. In a different, but they gonna catch him though because his pattern consistent.
It says, look, it says right here, it says, despite the discovery of more than 20 bodies in the Houston Bayou in 2025, authorities have not identified or arrested a serial killer in Houston officially. Mayor John Whitmire have repeatedly stated that there is no evidence connecting the deaths. What? Pushing back against.
The only way that's possible is that's what you call criminal dump site. But normally, wherever they dump bodies at like that, you normally have something that's gonna consume them quick. We talking about Texas, right?
Yeah.
Ain't no alligators in Texas, baby.
No.
Oh yes.
Nah. They mostly Louisiana, Florida.
Because Texas, right up against Louisiana, and Louisiana got gators. But Texas don't got gators. That sounds weird.
Yeah, they don't got no gator because it go from Louisiana, Mississippi, Mobile might have a few, but then it's just really Florida and Louisiana is the main two alligator crocodile states.
Look, I went to go visit Macomb, Mississippi, right?
Mississippi, yep.
Look, and my great grandmama's uncle. No, my grandmama's uncle got a park named after him called Percy Queen Park. Right? Old Irish senator. Anyway, all of the little people in the family, let's go down to Percy Queen Park, go swimming. Man, I get down to Percy Queen Park, I see trees just floating around in the water. They running in there swimming, and I'm like, I'm not going in there because them trees look like they got teeth. They swimming with the gators, man. I was like, y'all cold. I can't do the gator thing. That ain't my lane. That's why I like the North, because we ain't got no gators or no sharks.
Yeah.
We got no. Only poisonous snake is the Michigan rattler, and they rare. They so rare that you might live in the woods all your life and never see one. So I ain't really worried about them. I ain't got to worry about no grizzlies. I don't got to worry about no polar bears. Occasionally, you might catch a puma or a wolverine in a strange part of Michigan. They had a couple Black Panther sightings up by Flint, between Flint and Saginaw, but we don't have that, like, that down south animal danger. We don't have that up here.
Yeah. Really,
and down south, you said you get ran over by a pack of wild boars, ate by alligators, and we don't know what else they got off in the woods back there. We go hunt giant swamp rabbits. There's some names, giant swamp rabbits. They literally big as hell.
Hey, they got Bigfoot and reptilians, the walking shade shifted ones. Tell them.
Oh yeah, and kitty whites.
Yeah, want to chase me.
Those are the kitty whites. What they call the Wookiees on the Wookiees on Star Wars. Bigfoot.
Yeah.
What's my man name on there? Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Bigfoots. Yeah. We've known about them for thousands of years. They're not no strangers to us over here. They're only a stranger to the land.
Right.
We even intermix with them in certain points, especially in the Mississippi Valley.
And the Appalachian Mountains.
So we know about them. They're not strange to us. And they just wonder why they don't get to see them as often, because they have a telepathic connection where when humans start getting close, they can hear you thinking while you approach and they go the other way. That's why they so hard to walk up on.
And they usually live in close to cave. They live in the caves, but they live. If you see them, they usually close no more than 50 to 25 miles from there, because they can run pretty fast. These guys. And
they got close. They got what they call crystal gateways, where they take a crystal to a certain part of the ley line and say a sacred word, and it'll open the portal.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So, but that's all. That's a whole nother story. We getting off that right there is a whole.
Yeah, I got one for that one too.
A whole deciphering myth in and of itself, because the native was telling the settlers when they came, if y'all get past us, y'all gotta fight them big hairy motherfuckers in the woods. And then you gotta remember the Mississippians in 6'9", 6'10", dressed up with this wolf costume on. That's where you get your werewolf legend from.
That's right.
Right? Because we wear wolves and they suck blood because they vampires.
Right.
Right? So they telling you who they is in stories like Twilight, American Werewolf in London. Right? They telling you the difference in who's who, but it's confusing because they whitewashing all of the actual people. That's those true people that's taking those forms. The concept of turning into the werewolf on the full moon is an exaggeration of a wartime rage. Right? It ain't the full moon. It's just that the battles fought at night under the full moon is their specialty.
Right. They
take the mythology to shroud the truth of the matter.
Right.
So the more Mississippians, they're the ones who bailed Chief Pontiac out on Belle Isle. That's why they said that a bunch of giant wolves came out the darkness and attacked them on 2 feet. Giant walking wolves. Between 7 and 8 feet tall. That's what the French soldiers reported back. So we know what the old Mississippians dress like when they go into war. Remember, they talk about war paint, but they don't talk about the stealth technology of dressing like the animals of the land that they not familiar with. But we are. What they call in the buffalo soldier. Because we used to wear buffalo pelts and live among the buffalo, and that's how we knew when the harvest, when the baby buffalo was being born, when the albino buffalo was coming, when the last time he was here, what's the significance, because the last 10 times he came, this is what we saw. So when you see the albino buffalo, it means this is going to happen again. Because it consistently happened 10 times in a row, so on the 11th time you see it, it got to happen. Because it happens every time. It's consistent. If it was inconsistent, we couldn't leave you the legend because we don't have nothing to draw from. Because there's no pattern there. But the consistency shows the pattern. So then they tell you about the white buffalo lady, but they don't tell you how to find her. They don't tell you that those are codes for the people of the tribes to know how to find one another in order to reassemble the power base of the tribes of the land. So we forget our culture, so we don't know how to find these people. Because we keep looking for some pale-faced $5 Indian to be the one, and it ain't gonna never happen. You got a whole lot of imitators and perpetrators, but you can't never overcome the originators. Because when the originators is present, that energy frequency connects them together according to the laws of nature. And that's how you create that bridge without nobody seeing it, but you doing it in everybody's face. And they don't even know what they're looking at. They think artists is just making songs and people on the social media is just talking. Until stuff started happening. When it's more than 2 things, it's no longer a coincidence, it's a convergence.
Right.
It's a triangulation.
Right. Hey, I got a clip to go along with what you just said, Rod. I think we found these guys. 3. So these guys, the whole storyline, they just replaced us with them. They took us and put us in their place as if we came over as slaves and germ-infested folks and this and that, and then Go ahead, because you go in on the switch around, the old switcheroo.
Yeah. So remember, we got to look at what's contemporary with what major events in order to unravel the mystery behind the history. And you got to remember, they want us to disassociate from this land the people that look like us.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
At the same time, they need the great debauchery, the degenerate bloodlines to be cured by getting a drop of blood of the original people. Right?
Yeah.
The one drop of blood doctrine. The 4 generation to transition the color of the skin became a critical understanding based on Mendelian laws of genetics. Now you're talking about Mendel, who was a Catholic priest studying the genetics of plants. But the study of the genetics he developed is the standard of our modern day DNA genetic studies. Right? Okay, now, contemporary with that, they had to consider the fact that the people we was fighting look like us.
Right.
But they can't consider the fact if the white man to us don't look white. Or what they want us to believe white mean.
Go ahead.
Right? So, they got to bring people from Europe that need a drop of blood as the standard in the caste system to develop the inferiority complex to subjugate the original people. By telling them that somebody lesser than them is greater than them and make them determined to prove their greatness, it oozes out of their reality of suffering. The more the suffering, the greater the developments to break the suffering are. Great inventions. And all great inventions is to relieve the struggle of performing certain types of tasks, all the way to computer and digital technology. Man trying to take control of how he controls his environment by developing machines, techniques, and strategies to reduce the struggles of the workload. Right? So they had to digitize everything. Right? So now you bring in these new people. Remember, they had a whole European campaign to bring us your religious refugees was a key critical part. That's where your freedom of religion ideology come from. But the freedom of religion was to suppress all religions that wasn't a Christian religion in the continuation of the Crusades.
That's facts.
Right? So now your black codes and also your Christian codes is the determining factor of the application of the caste system. And the illusion that'll be cast by that is that the caste system is based on skin color. When in actuality, the ones you putting up as the prop at the top is actually the fall guy.
I got a video.
You can't fall from the bottom. You got to fall from the top. So you give you the illusion that somebody else is on top. So you never exercise your power to take the top over. You become consistently durable in your struggles to go along and get along. You're strong enough to take it, so you suffer the longest. Therefore, you at the bottom because you're strong enough to take it more than everybody else. And from that innate strength is how your carbon 666 becomes a diamond crystal. Going from a gold age, from an iron age to a golden age. From an analog age to a digital age.
Right.
From the Piscean age to the Aquarian age. From the age of belief to the age of we can figure it out because we know it. to the age of believe what I say, to the age of just go prove me wrong. And then we'll both learn something.
Right.
And that's how you get past all of the shenanigans. Just prove me wrong and we both learn something. Because in order for me to be proven wrong, that means I must have spoken error and I'm not above making errors. And anybody think they're above making errors don't know about Freudian slips. So they can never be able to use that to understand the psychology of how the mind works. So they start bringing these people over here to fill in the blank. Who is the white man? Remember, the paleface lady say there were no people on earth called white people before 1860. Play it. That'll be better. Now, you have to invent white people.
Now before okay, I'm gonna play that clip.
The paleface, when Yacub was having his grafting process, they left some Negroes in charge.
That's right.
When they were sending their product to the Caucasus, they were being transported by some Negroes.
That's right.
Yacub's scientist was black like him. Then they blue black Negroes.
Yeah.
And they in turn would take concubines from these people. The Canaanite is when you read the Sons of Canaan by Malachi, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's giving you the religious description of how they got there. But when you do the research on the Grimaldi, it tells you the genetic drift of how they got there. Haplogroups, phenotypes, right? The settlements being followed is showing you the outposts that they set up to run from one camp to the next camp in a period of the time in order to transport their product past the Black Sea, Caspian Sea area.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this is how you know they condition. Because you got overseers just reporting back to whoever these people is hide and call themselves our moon priests because they don't want to be seen.
Right.
But they getting the accounting of the situation, circumstances, and conditions surrounding the people in the Caucasus. That's why they say they was roped in.
Yep, you're
right. And this is a metaphor because Europa was the goddess sister, daughter of Isis, who the continent was named after. Her sister name was Helen, who the Greek territories was named after. Right? But they changed the history by putting stories into mythology and telling you that they didn't really happen, but they really happened at the same time. They transfer mythology into religious texts to confuse the translation of the message.
Makes sense.
And to control the narrative and the outcome of how people respond to it. Right? So this is what you're looking at when you see them using ideology to advance a cause. Nobody is going to stay content in something that doesn't suit their comfort zone. And as you become uncomfortable, you begin to rebel, but you got different ways by which you rebel. They rebel by blowing us up and tell us that we need to rebel by marching. That don't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Totally irrational.
1864, they said it's 1860 something. It wasn't no term white people.
Right. When they was referring to whites, they was referring to the invaders, the conquistadors.
Mm-hmm.
This is why when you look up free white persons in Black's dictionary, it tell you that they was basically what they call today Black Jews.
Pretty much.
Right. And they was the ones who was being exiled from Europe in the Inquisition. They was coming over here, marrying into the family of the tribes to sell land. This is the source of that miscegenation law. Because the tribes of the land was complaining to the government about the men from foreign tribes that was classified under the law as free white persons was marrying into the tribes, and then they were selling land and making land contract deals that was the prime jurisdiction of the tribal mothers. The men had no say over that, and now you have men coming in because they marry under Christian code. This is why you needed a Christian code, because you need these women that marry to lose their property rights by marital rights, by surrendering your property rights for marital rights. Because this is why in the Christian church they're always talking about the man being the head of the house.
Yeah, that's right.
But the pharaoh means the lady of the house, the lady that lights the house, the woman of the house. And the man derives his rulership authority from her position as a rightful heir princess who was selected by the queen mother of the potential king to co-govern with her son before she surrendered power to her daughter-in-law, who's going to become the next queen mother. So this was the matriarchal order that they usurping by changing the standard of how property is passed from tribal rights to Christian coded rights. But under the grandfather clause, nobody ever overturned any other tribal law, because you can't do it because it's the law of the land. It's not the law of the Admiralty and Maritime. And so we grandfather in, using the oral tradition, all of our old laws that give us the position to govern ourselves. When they say that we couldn't govern ourselves, so Noble Drew Ali gave them 100 years for us to govern ourselves. We gonna figure it out. And we got multiple organizations that prove that we can govern ourselves. We got our own everything. We don't need them for nothing. They whole military is made up of our children. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
What we need them for.
Right.
So when you read out the BS and you get down to the source of it all, it boils down to good versus evil, right versus wrong. And that's the only thing that make it evil, because it's wrong. It's trying to take the place of the right. It's the battle of two positions. The one that wanted and the one that earned it.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad, man. I love the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Man, I wish I could have got a chance to sit with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was an extraterrestrial, man. Ain't nobody, I'm telling you. Like the way he talked, the way he. No, but this is my question though, based on what he said, the 6,000 what Elijah Muhammad brought about, and we know about the story of Yacub, but the 6,000 years. Now, if my calculations are correct, well, Doc said it'll be completely up in 2030, because you said they got it was supposed to be 2000, and then they got the devil got extension. Could you go in on the devil, because we've been fighting these devils, and it's not. We found out that it's Yacub scientists really the main puppeteers who using the scapegoat method to offset the blame. But could you go in on the devil's extension and how he the scapegoat pretty much is up at this point? Because we put
so the 6,000 years is actually 8,400 years for the Caucasian. We use in the Julian calendar.
Okay.
And Elijah, he's using the calculation from the onset of the church. So it takes 2,000 years out of the math, because he's telling you the ancient arrival of the breeding program. If we use the Julian calendar and stretch it out from today, we'd be closer to 8,400 years, which is where the Tamahu was first recorded in the hieroglyphics. Tamahu means the man that was made, the laboratory-made man. Right? And we know that Yacub set up a laboratory to oversee his breeding program in what we call today Planned Parenthood clinics.
That's right.
Now remember, at the time they blocking the marriage to certain women under the slave rights, the slave master had free run to rape women. This is the past the Y haplogroup under the one blood doctrine.
Thanks.
Right, so they gotta get the male haplogroup into the women motherland first, and then they have to use reverse psychology, make it illegal for us to marry somebody from another ethnicity. But originally, it wasn't to stop us; it was to stop the colonizers from marrying the tribal women and turning the tribal right into the Christian right under the Christian code. But later on, with the institution of the arrival of the Ellis Island immigrants, the social reverse psychology of creating a standard of beauty, telling the greatest man that ever lived he can't have access to it. And then you had to express that drop of blood to get the attention. So now they're using the daughter of the ones that came with the Y chromosome haplogroup. So now you got to get the Y chromosome off the father line into the same haplogroups in order to purify the DNA codes of the two Y chromosomes, which is done through the women in the mitochondrial resonance, scanning the DNA to correct the defects by comparative analysis. And this is why we live in a whole culture. They trying to desperately correct the DNA.
Interesting. Let's roll some kind of experiment or something.
No, so remember the Pueblos?
Yeah, Pueblo.
You look up the Pueblo village and you see them they got like apartment complexes carved out of the side of the mountain.
Yeah, I actually been up there with. I actually been out there for a while with them.
Right. Well, a lot of the tribes use the natural geography, so they don't have to construct a house. They live in the local caverns, or they even create caverns in the cave wall.
That's right. The Dogons did it.
Right, and that custom was still with some of the nomadic non-treaty tribes when the settlers came across the Oklahoma territory. You got to remember, it was into the 1900s that Oklahoma started not being called Indian country by the whole of the country. Oklahoma was Indian territory on paper. So a lot of the old tribes that fled warfare for survival end up taking up habitation in caves and dwellings and learning to create subterranean dwellings to escape the colonizers. And some of them took in the children of the colonizers that they had at war with them.
Damn, right? But we know about the Jesus story, right? We can get into the hypothetics on it. But the point I want to make is the colonization from Christianity dealing with the Papist Bull, Spanish Inquisition, because a lot of I turn it on TV, I turn it on the internet, I turn it on a lot of places, and I still hear brothers like in this day and time still promoting the colonizer doctrine, even after they heard us or know the truth now, or heard the truth where they say, "Oh yeah, man, you know these people colonized us with this Christianity or with some of this, like some of the information they took from us, from the Gilmix Expeditions leash, from the tablets, ancient tablets. It's some of our information in there with the ancient tablets, but." What we saying is, it's people out here seriously still going hard in the paint with this colonization, and they are supposed to be our people, or are they not our people? They're still promoting that to hit the truth.
Listen, just because you've heard the truth, that don't mean you've accepted it yet.
Okay.
A lot of those people have been faced with people like us, and we got some of the people that listen to us is combative with the information. Because once you know the truth and somebody trying to make you accept a lie, you become combative and defensive and ready to bust them upside their head with the facts. Right? So we become arrogant and cocky with the information because we know it's true. Which makes them shut down because they can't understand why you so arrogant with what you say is true when I've been believing this my whole life. You mean to tell me I gotta accept the fact that I've been lied to my whole life by everybody I knew? That's a hard pill to swallow. You mean the story I've been teaching for the last 30 years as a pastor is not true? Even though they told me in Bible college that the source of all of this information is from here and here.
Yeah.
And that this doctrine was written by the Catholic Church for this ecumenical council, which is part of the doctrine. This ecumenical council is this part of the doctrine. And they still believe it's true. Or they making so much money pretending they're standing in the truth, and they don't want to give up that cash cow. But they don't know that these youngsters is coming through and they tipping sacred cows all night long in the cow tipping contest. Right? So they gonna eventually be forced to adjust to the reality that you can no longer conceal the truth under the doctrines of war called religion.
Right.
Religion was created for mental and psychological warfare by feigning to teach you spiritual developmental principles while they teaching you to submit to their jurisdictional authority under the jurisdiction of the Pope.
Clergies. They are clergy.
Yeah. So when they teaching the doctrine, they supplying a lifestyle. Sometimes if you tell the truth, you're gonna lose a lot of followers in the beginning.
Right. That's right.
That means you're gonna lose a lot of dollars in the beginning. But the thing about the truth is, when you consistently tell it, it starts to make people draw to it like a magnet. Right? So just because you go through a slump, you're gonna recover.